Soul from Kenya, featuring the Soweto Gospel Choir. It's one of my favorite songs. And whenever you hear the song, you know it's time for our Leader Sports series. Going straight on to business. I already introduced what the show is about. For the sake of people who missed it, it's a show you love. By chance you're tuning in for the first time, it is still YFM. We're usually doing music, but there are times we sit and pay attention to people who have stories to tell. In hopes of inspiring somebody out there, we're doing this. On the Leaderboard series this morning, of course, a big shout out going out to MTN, a proud sponsor. My guest is a true legend in Ghana's creative and media space. Mr. John Abeiku Sagoe is my boss. He has over 55 years of experience. He's a seasoned communications expert, broadcaster, filmmaker, playwright, and a driving force behind a lot of iconic national performances. He's held key roles at VRA, ICGC, and the NCCE, and was once the general manager of Vibe FM. And so he's a radio person. I'm hoping we're able to bring back some of the good radio memories in the course of our conversation this morning. He's produced award-winning plays, films, and TV shows, and is a founding member of the Ghana Actors Guild and Pan-African Writers Association. Currently, the CEO of Summit Concepts Limited, leading the Sopon Cradle of Modern Ghana Politics project. So John Abeiku Sagoe, popularly known as Abeiku Sagoe for short, is a librarian, communications specialist, and an adolescent health management expert. Worked at VRA, International Central Gospel Church as PRM, and National Commission for Civic Education in various capacities. We also was also the news editor and commentator, guest writer for GTV at some point. He's the chairman of the Arts Committee of the Methodist Church of Ghana. He is my guest this morning. Join us as we welcome one and only Mr. Abeiku Sagoe to YFM. Good morning, sir. Akwaba.
Yeah.
God bless you so much. Before we start talking, I want to use this opportunity to say thank you. If Ghanaians haven't said thank you enough, I want to apologize on everyone's behalf. Gather, bundle it all up and say thank you.
Accept it.
Thank you so much. Some of us grew up watching you on screen. I grew up in Kumasi. Okay. I'm from very far away, some corner in Kumasi, but their faces I knew growing up because I took particular interest in theater and in acting. Okay, I really loved it from my childhood, and so their faces I can never forget. You, Auntie Grace Omabo, David Dontor, some very Edina Matachi, some very great names in there, and you're with them. You've been with them. You're still kicking. You look good. For people who are watching, you've kept yourself very well. You've protected yourself. If Ghanaians haven't said thank you enough, if the industry hasn't appreciated you enough, on behalf of everyone, of course, behalf of YFM, we'd like to say a huge thank you. You're here today because we appreciate all that you've put in. But beyond all that, today we have the opportunity to hear from you. I don't know if it's going to be the first time. I've seen you do interviews, but maybe today we'll share more than what you've shared on other platforms. I want to know you. My listeners want to know you. For people who know you from the screen just like myself, and because, of course, you're a story writer, who is John Abeiku? If you had to write a short story about yourself, who will you tell people you are?
I was born 1 week after Ghana gained independence.
Okay. That's a week after.
Yes, a week
6
after.
March 1957.
Yes, my mother was pregnant with me when Ghanaians were jubilating.
Beautiful.
Yes, and in Accra. Yes, and then because of the nature of my father's work, my father was an accountant.
Okay.
With the Control and Accountant General Department. And in those days, you hardly stayed at one spot for more than 3 years. That was to curb corruption and all that. These days we don't do that. People stay at one spot for 10 years. In those days, you stayed there 3 years, you moved.
You move, yeah.
Yeah, so shortly after that, we moved to Koforidua, where my mother's family also was, in fact, still is. And around when I was about 3 years, we moved from Koforidua to Kumasi. So it was in Kumasi that I started schooling.
Nice.
Yes, at the Government Boys Primary School, popularly known as ASIM.
ASIM, yes. That's around the Roman Hills area.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
And then By class 2, going to class 3, we moved to Takrady, yes.
And that's after spending like what, 3-4 years?
About 3-4 years. We moved to Takrady. Takrady, I went to Agri Memorial Primary School. Yes. And then another 3 years, the family moved.
Again?
My father, they moved to Accra, but I did not come with them.
Okay.
I joined my aunt in Sopon. And so at Sopon, I went to the Anglican Primary School. But actually, that was where I started this acting thing. Yes.
That's when you took interest.
Sopon Anglican School, we used to, every Easter, we used to perform the death of Christ. Sometimes the trial of Paul and all that.
And Bible stories.
Yes, Bible stories. And it was a big thing in Sopon those days. I mean, everybody came, you know. So, interestingly, after about 1 week after the performance, you were a star.
Yeah, you're
everywhere you went, people say, hey, you don't know. Yeah. You know, then after 3 years, I moved. Then I joined my family again in Accra.
So you left your aunties and
I left my auntie and came to, because then my father wanted me, I was going to Form 1, primary elementary Form 1. And my father said he wanted me to try my hands on the common entrance.
Okay.
Usually it used to be Form 2. But I said, I should come and try.
That means you were a bright kid.
Well, I'll do my best. He said I should come and try my hands on the common entrance and see, so that I'll get used to it, so that the following year
it'll be easy for you.
Unfortunately for me, I passed.
Wow, you were going to give it a shot just to try for the experience.
Try, but I
you passed. Okay.
And gained admission to Ghana National College.
So you went in quite earlier than you'd usually get in.
My choice of Ghana National College was interesting. You know, we used to live at Abusokai.
Okay.
And my father would drop us at school and then pick us in the evening. So one day, this was Dian Buzia's time. One day they had a meeting with Buzia. Buzia was coming to the Control and Accountant General's Department to meet them. So he couldn't come. So he sent a taxi driver to pick us. That morning, I had bought my common entrance card.
Okay.
It was some green card. I bought it. So when I got into the taxi, I sat at the front. And the driver started talking. And he saw me holding the card. So he said, hey, okay, common entrance. I said, yes. He said, oh, this school now pay. Those days, all I knew was Infante Pim, this school said Augustus Achimota. I said, oh, Infante Pim. So you don't like Ghana National?
I mean, before that, you didn't even know Ghana.
Okay. You don't pay Ghana National. I said, where is Ghana National? He said, it's in Cape Coast.
On the same side.
And then he told me the story of Ghana National, how the routes, 1948 routes, and how the students have been dismissed, and Nkrumah got them together to establish Ghana National College for them.
Yeah.
I got enamored with the story, so I said, then I'll go to Ghana National.
For experience.
So I changed it to Ghana National. Well, I went to Ghana National. I was there for only 1 year.
Why?
Yes, Form 1.
Okay.
And then I transferred to Wesley Grammar on health issues.
Okay.
Yes, I fell. You know, I was a gymnast.
Okay.
Those jumpers.
Very active man.
During the speech day, in jumping over what they call the horse, in jumping over the horse, I tripped and came down directly on my head. But of course, there was a foam.
Yes.
So the effect was not too much. It cushioned. Yeah. So I had a problem with the chest. One of the bones, clavicle or whatever, popped out.
Wow. And so you had to move.
So I was coming to hospital almost every 2 weeks. I was coming from Cape Coast to Kolebu. Almost every time I was coming to Kolebu. So when we were going to Form 2, my father said, no, it was too much. And it was also risky and all that. So I had to transfer to Accra. And as a Methodist, he just dropped me at Wesley Grammar.
And that was the closest option for you.
Of course, we were living at Dansuman too. So it was close.
Wow. Now, in all this, I mean, you grew up with an accountant dad who did quite well in what he did. You told us where your interest in arts and performance, grew from. Your decision to even go to Ghana National was decided, basically influenced by a simple conversation between you and a taxi driver. Around that time, did your dad have hopes of you maybe towing his line of, a career? Were there any direct efforts from him to get you to become an accountant?
At a point, yes. I actually was balanced.
Okay.
Yes, I was doing well in both science and arts. I was balanced. But moving on, I tilted more towards
the art side.
The arts.
Okay.
It came easier. So the target was low.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the target, the ultimate.
That's the perfect balance.
Yes, my father even had a family Bible.
Okay.
And everybody's name was in there. And he had written your profession. So my senior brother, Kobina, he had engineer.
Did he become an engineer?
He became a computer engineer in the US. Then I, lawyer.
Okay.
Then my sister, nurse.
Did she become a nurse?
She didn't become a nurse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she almost got
good
close.
in there. Wow.
But when at the first attempt, I didn't get admission to the law school. I gave up.
Okay.
I lost interest. Actually, after sixth form, I went to work at VRA.
Okay.
Was going for what we used to call a Second World War. So at VRA, then they transferred me to the library. I was put in the library. And the librarian then, the late Mr. Cochrane, liked me so much. Said I was hardworking and always reading and all that. And therefore, he said, librarianship would be good for me. So he put my mind on that.
It drifted you to another side, yeah.
And then I was pushed to Legon to go and read librarianship or information. Now they call it information management.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I came back. So I went on study leave with pay. So when I completed and went back to VI, at the point the job became too boring.
Was it boring because it was repetitive?
No, because
routine.
It's repetitive and you locked in one space. You locked in one space. But then I started my writing and all that.
Okay.
Yes, I started writing. I'd already won award. GBC radio played writing contest. In fact, in Form 1 at Ghana National, I won a writer's award. That was my first award. Yes.
While you were still at the gymnastics and
yes.
Okay.
That was in Form 1.
A jack of all trades,
Then later I came to win the GBC, and then I joined Talent Theatre Company.
Okay.
That's where I met David Donto, all of Mabel Okro, Edina Matachi, and all that. And then we were traveling. We were always on the road. Talent was a very active drama group, almost. And so every time I had to go and ask for permission.
Yeah.
Look for some story to tell. But I didn't say I was going to act. The one morning we were going to perform at the Art Center, and the adverts were run on. Those days there was only GBC2 that ran out commercials. Yeah. So everybody listened to GBC2. So my boss had, unfortunately for me, when I went to work that day, I went to ask for permission to travel. Then he said, he sparked. I said, he heard my name on radio this morning.
Are you the same guy?
Are you not the same Abeiku? Because of course he had seen me doing some writing and all that, so he knew I was also doing some master. You had I heard your name on radio. You are going to act somewhere.
And you're telling me you have to travel.
It's a different story. So choose between your concert and your VR work.
That was it?
He asked me to choose between my concert and my VR work. So the following day, I tendered my resignation. And he said, he was only joking.
Oh.
I said, I've already written.
My heart skipped a beat for a minute.
I've already written.
Yeah, your resignation
I'm not
letter.
turning back.
So what was meant to be a joke actually became a real decision.
Yes. So I left VRA. It was one of the worst decisions I ever took.
Worst?
Yes.
Why?
Because life turned around for some time, and probably realizing that I could still have worked at VRA and done my acting without much problems. Yeah, so I left VRA. But it also the attraction was also that I used to attend International Central Gospel Church.
Okay, that's ICGC.
ICGC. And I was doing lots of things. Youth. I started their youth. Their youth group. I started a drama group. I started a PR department and all that. So one morning, Otabo asked me how much I was being paid at VRA.
At that point, he didn't know you had left VRA.
No, he didn't know.
Okay,
I hadn't left.
Okay, you hadn't left yet. Okay, great.
He asked me how much I was being. So when I mentioned it, they said, "Oh, you will double it."
Just like that.
So that I come and
run the site full time for them.
Full time for the church. And so when my boss later asked me
that, you had quickly made a decision.
I made immediately.
Nice.
So immediately I resigned. Then I went to Utabi. I said, "I'm in."
Wow.
So I started work there as a PRO, as a youth organizer, as the drama, all the arts, doing their magazine and all that, So I worked at ICGC for some time. Then NCC, the changeover to democracy, NCC came and they were recruiting.
Yeah, they were looking for communicators.
So somebody hinted me that they were looking for somebody to manage the audiovisual department. So I tendered in. Before that, on some occasions, the then government will invite me to do scripting for them, the educational programs.
So these ones were paid?
And I was paid.
Okay.
And they knew me. So when the opportunity came and I applied immediately, I was asked to take over. So I worked at NCC for almost 10, 12 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
along the way.
Not to catch you, but let me backtrack a bit. Your time from VRA into ICGC happened by chance. I would say by chance, but there was a plan before because you had an opportunity. When it was time for you to move on to NCCE, did it at any point also cross your mind, okay, maybe I can combine what I'm doing at NCCE or what I'm about to do at NCCE and what I'm still doing? Because you obviously still go to church. You still be actively involved and all that. Did it cross your mind?
No, I didn't, because it was full time.
It was full time, okay.
Full time,
So it required you drop whatever it is.
Sometimes even church, some days beyond 8 p.m. and all that. So it was not possible for me to have done both. So I left.
Great.
I decided to go. But at that time too, I had almost decided that I was leaving ICGC and go back to Methodist Church. Because I left Methodist Church and come to ICGC. I lost interest in the charismatic thing. I mean, it comes when you are young. Yes. At the point I wanted Suba.
Okay. I think it's something I'm going to leave for later and then we discuss. Just so we don't drift the story.
Right.
But yes, go on.
So I NCC, but in NCC, I had an opportunity to go to the US to train in youth management or adolescent health management, as it's technically called. I wrote a play on teenage pregnancy for the Ghana Medical School Students Association week. And at the performance, the then country director of the UNFPA, Ian Howie, was there. So he watched it. At the end of it, then he asked the performers who wrote it for them, and they said it was me. So he called me and asked whether I just did it or I loved working with young people. I said, I've done a few youth program. Then I even said in my church, I'm even the youth manager in my church and all that. I said, there's a program in adolescent management. Would I be interested? I said yes. So he asked me to come to his office the following week. It was
At
Friday.
that point, did you know it was going to be connected to the US?
No, I didn't know.
Okay.
It was a Friday. So the Monday morning I went to the office. And then he gave me the form. The applicant, the prospectus. That he called them and asked for the prospectus. So I should fill it immediately.
Yeah.
So I sat down in his office and filled
not knowing what it was about.
It was what I saw. Institute for Training in Family Health. So I filled it. And then he said, okay, we'll send it back. And then if I got admission, fine. So I left. Then one afternoon, he sent to call me when I went. He said, oh, I'd been given admission, that I was leaving in a week's time.
You what?
So the following Wednesday, he took me to the U.S. Embassy and asked me to wait in the car. That if they wanted me,
they would call you.
They would call me.
Protocol is speaking.
10 minutes later, he came back and gave me my passport.
That was it.
That was it. It was Wednesday. Usually the protocol thing is Wednesday.
And you remember?
Yes, I remember.
So around this period, you were still at. You still remember? Around this period, you were still with NCCE.
I was with NCCE.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it was Wednesday. Then he called his accountant to prepare
your tickets
and everything.
Just like that.
To come Wednesday, Thursday, the following morning. The following one I went, they took me to Bank of Ghana and gave me my money.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Now, a few questions. I mean, you had a full-time job.
Yes.
At that point, had you started making your own family?
No.
Okay. Yes. But you obviously had your dad, your mom in your life, your brothers, and your sister.
Yes.
Your sisters, sorry. Yes. What ran through your mind that period? I mean, it was an opportunity you had taken, not knowing the future. But obviously the future had quickly run to you, and the opportunities were staring right at you. You were going to go to an uncharted territory, somewhere you hadn't been before. You had a future here. You were writing. This was a new opportunity for you. What did you have to consider within that short frame or that short period before you moved on? Or it didn't, I mean...
I thought it was another opportunity, to improve up, to add to my skills, And
so you just grabbed it?
Yeah, just I grabbed it. Thursday I went to Bank of Ghana. They gave me my money. So it was after that I went to tell my...
You took everything and then...
Then I went to my mother and said, Auntie...
Moko.
Moko US. I said, because I'm saying... So I'm going to US. He said, but if US, you don't get up and say, I'm going to US. Then I showed her my passport.
Oh, what did that?
This is the passport. I'm leaving tomorrow evening. He said, hey. Well, I had a brother there. He's still there. Yeah. Yes, my senior brother. So the following day, Friday evening, I took off to Chicago.
You went to the Ohio airport. Wow.
I took off to Chicago and one academic year.
And so you had put on pause
NCCE, I informed her.
You took.
We had a very nice chairman, Chris Essie. Very, may he rest in peace. Very nice man. I mean, I just gave him a 1 hour notice. It was 1 hour, sure. So it was on the Thursday from the Bank of Ghana that I went to tell him.
I mean, when you had touched the money.
I touched everything. I showed him everything. He said, he said, all right, seize it. Why not?
Okay, Sagoe, do you think you were favored or they let you on these opportunities? I mean, there were exceptional opportunities because you were an exemplary worker. Do you think your hard work was why they decided, you know what, it's fine, let's let him go? Or because you were were you popular then at that time?
Well, I started, I mean, yes, almost in those days, it was only GTV.
Yeah, okay. So and that was what everyone was watching.
Everybody was watching GTV. And sometimes the Air Center. Even though sometimes also we traveled out of Accra. But these were the two key entertainment spots in Accra. Yeah. So, especially with drama, the high-ups who in those days who loved drama. And then the NCC too, well, I was a hard worker, the creativity.
Yeah.
Indeed, when NCC started, Chris Essie, his first management meeting, he said he hadn't seen any book or any text on civic education. And so he was going to rely on people's ingenuity, creativity and all that. And because of my nature, I used to come up every now and then with ideas.
I mean, writing was an easy thing for you.
Creating, there's their flagship program, Constitution Week. I created it.
And these were things you weren't asked to do. You just
voluntarily.
Out of yes. Okay.
He will say that if you have an idea, we'll try it. If it fails, we'll stop. Yeah. If it succeeds, we'll continue. Yes. So it was, and I had made lots of contributions. So, yeah, so he was, and indeed when I told him the story behind this, then he was happy because it came from the drama.
Yeah.
Then I was doing with NCC. I mean, we were going around with drama, educating the public on the Constitution and civic matters and all that, all over the country. So it was not difficult at all for him to say, "Oh, go and come back." His only question was, "Are you sure you?
Are you sure you're going to come back?"
Are you sure? He said, "Abeiku, are you sure you come back?" I said, "Oh, say I'll come back. Why not?"
And were you sure you were going to come back?
Yes, I not decided. I'd traveled. I'd gone to Canada before. I'd gone to Britain before. I'd gone to Moscow before. I've never liked staying out of.
I mean, this was America. You hadn't touched America yet. Your brother was there.
But
you just wanted to
never
come back.
occurred to me to.
Yeah.
My children fight me over
all the time.
Yes, but it's never occurred to me to stay out of Ghana.
Great. Before we talk about your experience in Chicago, around when this opportunity came, how old were you?
Early 30s.
Early 30s.
Yes, early 30s.
Okay.
Yes.
So from all that I'm hearing, I mean, you had a very structured life. You were writing. You were heavily involved. I mean, as much as you had left the church, I knew you were still involved in managing the activities of the church as well. You were heavily involved in activities at NCC, going far and beyond what you expected to do. You got the opportunity to actually write for the Medical Association and got an opportunity to study out. You quickly made a decision, even informing your family right after you had gotten your hands on everything. As a young man, an early 30-year-old man, didn't you have any other things to do? I mean, around that time, you'd ideally have a social life, have friends to chill with, a group of people to bundle with when it comes to activities. Did you have that life also around that time?
I was very anti-so. I was very anti-so. In fact, at a point, it was even anti-so that pushed me. This anti-so, the effect of the anti-so thing that pushed me into joining Talent Theatre Company. At a point, I felt that I was very ill. I felt seriously.
Yeah.
I just like feeling ill.
Yeah.
So I went to hospital. I went to Kolebu, saw a doctor friend of mine, and he took me through every test that he could do. He said,
there's nothing wrong.
Abeiku, there's nothing wrong with you. Why do you think you are sick? I said, oh, I feel sick. Then so he said, so what is your social life like?
Same question I'm asking.
Said, what is your social life? I said, well, when I close, those VR we used to close at 3.
Okay.
When I close at 3, if Talent does not have a rehearsal, then I'll go home straight.
And do what?
And read.
And continue the same thing.
So I had books all over my bed and all that. So when I told him, he said, that is your problem. That is what is killing you. Find something to do. Join a social club, sports, blah, 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 blah. So of course, because I already had an interest
in the
drama, then I went to the Art Center one evening. He suggested it.
There you go.
That I should go to the Art Center. There are many drama groups there. Go and join one of them because I was into drama. Because before then, we went to Moscow to perform. He was a doctor of the group when we went to Moscow for a performance.
He was a real doctor.
Yes, a real doctor at Kolebu. So he said, you are in drama, so go to our center and look for some drama group to join. So one evening I went to the art center, and then I saw, immediately I entered, I met David Donto. He was already with them. So I met David Donto. I said, David, I thought you were on TV. I said, oh, I'm a drama group. I said, oh, I'm coming to look for a drama group.
To join.
I said, oh, he's with Talents.
Okay.
So I should come. So he introduced me to Kofi Potofi, who was the director of the group.
Again.
And they auditioned me. I said I had passed. so I should join. So that is how the serious acting started. Yes. Where did we get to before?
Chicago.
Yes, Chicago. We got to Chicago. We watch TV, we watch American films, and we think.
I see where we're going.
And we think that everything American
is rosy
and beautiful,
juicy and beautiful.
We think all American women are beautiful. All American men are handsome
and rich.
So it was when we plane landed, I entered the arrival hall, O'Hare Airport. The first person I saw, I almost screamed. It was like he had a problem.
Yeah.
And we think everybody in America is beautiful like that.
Did he have a Caribbean accent?
I didn't talk to him.
You didn't talk to him? Okay,
yes.
perfect.
I didn't talk to him. And so I went to immigration. They checked. Then the immigration officer, an old white man. He asked, "What are you coming to do here?" I said, "I'm coming to school." So he looked through my documents and said, "Oh, you're welcome to Chicago.
Yeah.
But you be careful on West Side.
You've been warned. It's a very dangerous part.
You be careful on West Side." So, well, I entered. I was made a class captain.
Okay.
There were a lot of Africans in the class. And immediately I said I was from Ghana, they said you are the class captain.
Why is
Immediately they voted for me as a
why?
We're going to elect the class captain. And so we were introducing ourselves. When I said I was from Ghana, they said, "Oh, then you are the class captain."
Around that time was word about late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and them.
Word about Kwame Nkrumah, I'll mention that one too later.
Okay.
At another time. Yes, I mean, everybody sees any Ghanaian as dynamic, intelligent, as Kwame Nkrumah, you know.
So they made you Class P.
So they made me the class captain or class president. That's it. They call it.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, it was an interesting thing. Youth working with you. Most of our studies were outside.
Yeah. Field always.
Field works. So I went to one day. Then I decided that I was going to one Saturday. I said, "Why did the white man say I should be careful on the West Side?" So I'm going to West Side. I'm going to find out what
the Ghana boy in you was
what
pushing
is that
you.
West Side?
Yeah.
So I went to boarded a train, and honestly, when we got to West Side, I didn't get out of the train.
You had regretted on the spot.
I got scared. Right. As I looked out, the guys, it was violence everywhere.
It was nothing you had seen before.
No, nothing like anything that, not in my life. So I sat on the train for it to go 10 round.
Yeah, and then send you back
back to where I was. But for my project work, then I said I'll go and do my project work at Westside.
Again?
Yes.
Okay.
I used drama, what do you call that? Drama in education. So I told the supervisor that I wanted to go and do my project work at Westside. He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Have you been there before?" I said,
You just started training.
I didn't stop. But what I see there, I think I want to do something about it.
You saw an opportunity?
Yes. So he said, "Okay." So he did the arrangement for me. So every time I was going there, I went in a police car. Every time I was going for the rehearsals.
Yeah, you had to go with police.
And the place is locked up. So with police guards all over. So when we get there, the policeman, my police guard, would go and tell the gateman that he was bringing me. Then they would open for me. First, they would take me to the clinic. I was working from the clinic.
Yeah.
They take me to there was a clinic there. Take me there. The clinic itself is bad.
So people can't get in,
Don't just, and then you knock, you open the slat.
Look at you
before they open for you to enter. And then what the doctor there did, because of what I was doing, the drug abuse and all that. So he arranged with some of the young people for me. So when I go there, the police will take me around to talk to them. Then they'll bring them to the clinic for us to put the play together and all that. My other experience was that one evening I decided to go and watch a play. It was a theater. I was driving in a taxi when I saw a theater.
Okay.
So I did, and then they were advertising Cats, the musical. I'd heard about it, so I decided to go and watch it. So it wasn't too far
from where you
from
were.
the hostel.
Okay.
So when we closed, I decided to take a walk and look at Chicago by night. After some distance, a police vehicle came and stopped by me. They asked me to come over. I said, what's the problem? I said, you come over. So I went closer. I said, where are you going? I mentioned where I was going to, Arlington Hotel. I said, you sure about that? I said, yes. He said, get in.
I want to take you along and verify. Yes. Okay.
Then they took me, so I sat in, and he took me to the hotel. They waited for me to, it was late, so they had locked up to go and knock. The security man came out, and when he identified me, then he opened the gate. So the policeman called me again. He said, I shouldn't think that he did not like me, but that place was dangerous.
So you had to be sure whether you were part of that.
And apparently the dangerous was that it was a pure white area.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
It was a pure white area.
So your being there
black
would have been a challenge.
Man, a challenge. So they said, oh, that's why he took me out. He brought me safely. So I thanked him, and he left. You know. So after then, yes. So the day of the project, I did the exhibition at the place at Westside. We performed the play. Drug abuse, teenage pregnancy, a mixture of all those youth problems. People cried. People wailed.
And these were guys at the West Side already?
Yes. Especially the women. Wailed and cried. And
you touched on the key spots, yes.
Yeah, I touched them. So an NGO, a representative of an NGO was there. He watched it. So when we closed, then he said, he wanted to make me an offer. So what offer? He want to give me an employment.
But you were there to study.
I said, I came to study. He said, he wants me to help. I said, I'm going to help my country. I came to go help my country. You know, so I came back. In fact, actually, a mate of mine, my classmate, Abeiku, who was living in New York, when I told him I was in Chicago, he said, after the course, I should come over and have some time with him. So I went over. His only focus was that I shouldn't go back.
Yeah, and I'm sure you shared with him that you had the opportunity to work.
I told him, I got a job and turned it down. But you want me to come and struggle to look for a job and all that? No. So at any time I want to come to the U.S., I can come. But I think that my country needs my expertise more than America. So I came back.
And this was you staying true to yourself.
Yes.
And I mean, beyond that, was it that you felt there was a bigger purpose for you down here?
Yeah, well, part of I thought, but honestly, to a fault, love Ghana. I love Ghana to a fault. Yes. I've had many opportunities outside, but I say I'm going back to Ghana in spite of all the struggles and all that. I want to.
I mean, if I'm not wrong, around that time,
to the development of Ghana.
I wouldn't say necessarily your mates, but people around that period were struggling through Nigeria to get to the US.
To get to blah blah blah.
And you had this opportunity.
I'd gone and come back.
And then you had reached out to you.
I had a 5 years visa. Still, I'd only spent 1 year. So
out
4
of
years.
That, and the rest you didn't even use it.
I went again.
Yeah.
I went again in 1995. That too on scholarship from the USAID. Or USAID, that Trump has. So I was very sad when Trump cancelled that.
I talked about it this morning too.
Yeah, I was so sad because it's helped. Yes, through my youth, because then when I came from Chicago, I was now working within the population and development
space
circles. Yes, and because of the drama, because there were few communicators in population. So I come back. I've gone to now learn population management, and I was also doing communications. So the USAID took me to Washington to study strategic management, institution building, what they call institution building. They took me to US to do strategic management.
Your second time being funded to the US.
My second time go to the US. So we went, did it was a postgraduate program. We finished. And then when I came back, they asked me to go again to now do communications at Johns Hopkins. The controversial Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, Johns Hopkins. The controversial Johns Hopkins.
Okay. I went to Johns Hopkins.
I hope you guys get it.
I went to Johns Hopkins for one academic year to do a program in communications.
And yours is verifiable.
Yes. Verifiable. In population, family health, family health communications, So I went and came back. And became the focal person for adolescent health management. Everybody who came, so because then I went to, later UNFPA took me to their headquarters in New York to go and visit the headquarters, see what happens there and all that. So,
and between this period, was your base job still with NCC?
Yes, I was still with NCC.
Wow.
Yes, I was still with NCC. As I said, I had a very good boss. Yeah. He didn't care. Anytime I was going, I'll tell him though, Chairman, me as South Africa, what are you going to do there? We are going for a youth workshop. So okay, take care. He had been ambassador in the southern part of Africa, so he knew that. So as for when I was going to South Africa, he lectured me a lot by movements.
Don't do this, don't do that.
And indeed, my arrival at Joburg Airport, was standing in the airport when a young man ran to the arrival hall, went behind some pillar or something, and another guy came with a pistol and shot him.
Oh, our Tambo Airport is, I think it's better now. Things are better now.
Oh, he just shot him. He shot him and left me and went back. Nobody asked me that. I instinctively almost went to catch him.
The savior in you was going to get at work.
He walked away and said, hey, that's how this place is.
I'm sure that was one of your first culture shocks.
Shock. It was.
How long did you spend there?
So I was in South Africa for 2 weeks. Then we moved to Swaziland.
Swatini.
So we moved to Swaziland for 1 month, and then came back. But I traveled a lot those days.
Yeah.
I used to go around a lot because of the youth.
And in this entire period, you had basically found and cemented your feet in the adolescent health, reproductive population career path.
Yes.
What was happening to your arts bit? Because I think there were bits and bits of it in there.
During that time, I won the Ghana Association of Writers instituted the literary awards.
Okay.
I won
so
the
your
first
works were
one.
still being recognized.
I won the first. The first. I won it the first time.
Yeah. But on the scale of your interest sharing, were you more inclined to the work?
Incidentally, I was doing the arts.
Okay.
With the youth, with the young people. I was organizing them to put up plays and public education and all that.
And you're still getting your work done through that.
Yes. So in fact, with the NCC, there wasn't much difference between what I was doing
in there and
usually
in the arts.
The youth thing, it's largely civic education. So it was, nobody had a problem. Just a mixture.
Do you remember one of the biggest projects you did in the past? One of them you may have scripted that you can remember word for word?
With the adolescent thing?
Yes.
Word for word?
You can't. Okay.
I can't. But I shot a film for the PPAG, Akos. The title was Akos for Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. And then we did a number of fairs. Yes.
What do you think has changed? I mean, back then, growing up, I think we let's get into this. We're going to continue with your life story, but now a few questions are just running through my mind. Civic education, basically educating the average Ghanaian on matters around us, health matters, economics, population census. Back then, a lot of things were amplified. The advent of technology had not even reached where it is now. But I personally remember how send your girl child to school, how protect yourself, ads on drug abuse, how kids should not Akwadawo, Kohen, all those projects were done. Do you think because technology is what it is now, we've given the responsibility back to the people to educate themselves, or there's no longer the need to even do that education no more? You have been there and you see what happens now.
No, the education is important.
Yeah.
I mean, in many respects. The technology, of course, poses challenges.
Okay.
Because you could be doing, now the avenues are plenty.
Plenty, yeah.
You could be doing something serious on one channel, and people will be watching something, if you like, a trash on other channels. So it poses a great challenge. And TV, in those days, there was only GTV. So everything we did went on GTV and everybody saw it. Now there are almost 450 television channels.
Private channels, yeah.
And they're all doing all manner of things. Some don't even care at all about the effects.
No censorship, nothing,
on the public. I mean, they just do it. 12 o'clock, showing films, sex, sexual films, pornography, and all that. I mean, some TV stations have 1 hour, 2 hours on
vulgar conversations
and all that. So it's a very difficult. However, of course, there are some channels that attract more eyeballs and, if you like, ear holes. So we could focus on those. Importantly, the programs must be interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, because if it's boring,
nobody's going to
watch.
This generation will not watch.
No matter the message in it, if it's boring, nobody will watch. So it calls for harder work. It calls for more creativity. You have to be more creative, more innovative, to ensure that what you're doing is above the ordinary.
Yeah.
So that people would want to watch it. I did a TV series, Standard Life, 2012, 2013, thereabout. It was the most watched television program by scientific research. And Chairman Zabunsud, the parliamentarian.
Yeah, honorable.
Yes. When a friend of mine introduced me to him, he said, "Oh, Standard Life." He forces his children to watch it.
Wow.
He forces his children to watch it. So I think we have to be more. There are lots of course, we were trained, so we were directed. And therefore it helped us in shaping our focus. Unfortunately today, many of the people who are doing, everybody just gets up and that's what he likes. So there's no focus. There's no focus. And that is what American films, I mean, whether you like it or not, it's what has made everybody think America is great.
Yeah.
Because they are writers, they are directors.
They're shaping their story.
They shape the story. They target the world, give it out for everybody to respect. Damn, when you go to the US and you see all the, some places are no different from Nima and Mamubi and Jamestown and wherever, but they are focused. We are not focused.
We're not, do you think we are not intentional about it?
We are not intentional about it.
Okay.
That is what I mean by we are not focused. That a writer in writing, no matter the trend of the story or the genre, has one aim.
Yeah.
That it is to make Ghana great. So that no matter whether it's a romantic story or crime or whatever,
the moral story promotes something. It maybe promotes the love story of Ghana.
Which we are not doing, and that is a major factor that is hindering our, and also not helping the entertainment industry. And people don't take us for serious.
How do you feel when you sit back and look at, I mean, I was going to ask a question about passion and training, basically equipping yourself, because you can have the passion to produce this.
Yes.
But maybe passion alone won't be able to drive you to where you're supposed to get to. I'm sitting here listening to you, and you've gathered more than what the average person doing what you do would gather in terms of experience and knowledge. And you did these things intentionally. You saw the opportunity in every little thing that came your way to learn. And through that, you know the things you know today. Now, there are people running a communication space, entertainment space, who are basically just in there because they didn't have the numbers, and meaning they have the public stake. I mean, people like them. They run the numbers. They have the followers. When you sit back and you watch how things are being done in our communication side, in broadcasting, radio, TV. You just mentioned our TV shows are being done anyhow. How does it make you feel? Do you think we've totally lost it, or there's hope somewhere? If there's hope, where is it going to come from?
I always believe that there's something could be done about any situation, no matter how dire it is. So there is hope, but we must be intentional, as you said.
Back to it.
Yes, and the Creative Arts Agency should lead. There's also the National Film Authority, but the Creative Arts Agency, more importantly, should lead in the crusade. They should bring up. I used to teach at Gallywood. There was a Gallywood, and those are the Kumasi guys. Kumawood people had just started doing their 1-2-1-2, and I thought that we should have an extension.
Yeah, a structure for them.
Kumasi, so that we can help them to mold. And I even talked to NAFTI. I talked to NAFTI about it. Now, why don't they have a satellite, place in Kumasi to train these guys? No, they didn't take it serious. I personally tried to organize workshops in Kumasi for writing, and nobody came.
Was it because they didn't find a need, or because their style had caught on for them?
It was like, we are already doing. Yeah, we are already doing book long for no. And they book boom.
Mo fat one story. Because John 3:16, I didn't need to move in. But I'm more long. So they don't accept it.
No. So many of the guys in there are not ready to see that there's some seriousness in what they're doing. The film industry went up. Many of the producers have left to sell phones, and so they didn't even come in with passion. They came in looking for money.
Once they didn't find it. Once it started declining, they decided to pack themselves and move.
So there's a passion, but the training is the skills is very, very important. Why Ghanaian films sometimes don't make it is the acting. Look, a film does not, as for the language, I'm not talking about technical film language, but the language in it does not matter. It can be Twi, it can be Fanti, it can be Ga, it can be Hausa, it can be Ewe, it can be anything. But there's film language. That whatever is in the film is part of the story. It's part, they are all components of the story. So if you're trying to tell a certain story in a language that people is not their first language or even their second, do not understand. And then, in addition to that, the things in the film do not exactly, go with the story.
They don't correlate with the story you're trying to send out.
So it's only when you can speak the language that you make the story. If you don't speak the language, you don't. Why we watch Indian films and understand. I mean, we watch Chinese films and understand. So why would I watch a Twi film? And because I do not speak Twi, I shouldn't understand them.
That's a very good point.
Yes. So that's why they need the training. Even acting, as I said, every gesture you make is communicates something. Your facial expression communicates something. If you sit down, the way you sit down communicates something. So the acting itself must be taught. It must be learned.
It must be taught. It must be learned. Let's say you didn't get the opportunity to go to school for acting and basically doing movies, right? You did theater, you did stage through your training, through the Talent Academy. In your opinion, do you think to be a good actor, you must have a foundation of theater?
Yes, I mean, I think that the acting in theater or stage is more demanding.
Okay.
It's more demanding. It's like, it's not that people are using microphones on stage, but
you have to project.
Theater,
you have to project.
You have to project. You know, you have to project. You have to tune your voice and all that, because your voice is even part of the story. You cannot have a light voice when you're talking about a heavy issue. You know. So and then you taught the gestures, as I'm saying, and in talents, you learned the. And there isn't much difference.
Yeah.
Apart from the camera and the cut on stage,
it's basically the same thing, yeah.
Yes, but in terms of the techniques of acting, it's virtually the same. But for stage, your director, if he's good, will insist that you do the right.
Yeah, there are prerequisites. Like there are certain things you have to do.
Yes. And when you do it film, it must be the same. Your stage area, your
set area,
acting area. Acting area, the left must be for bad things. The right side must be for good things. In film, is the same thing. If we're shooting a film here, and this is a set, the negative things will be on the left side. The positive things will
be on
the
right side. But I'm sure,
side.
unfortunately, these are things you currently watch projects and you see being done wrong, right?
Yes.
And are they being done wrong because they don't have the foundation in theater?
Or they don't have the foundation at all. Any foundation.
Okay.
Any foundation at all. Because some of the people who are calling themselves directors have actually done nothing before.
I mean, now you can just have money, buy a camera.
Have a camera or call friends, somebody to bring his camera, somebody to bring his microphone, somebody to bring his lights, and you are a director. You can call some friends.
Uncle Sagoe, do you watch Nigerian movies?
I do.
Okay. Have you been seeing the new
They've progressed.
They've progressed.
They've progressed. I mean, they've progressed. But they came to learn from us.
Yeah.
They used to come here. Those days when they were doing co-production, Ghana, they were. And when I shot my first film, Samurai, at Pontiano, there was this popular Nigerian Sagoe. Anytime we got to the set or location, he would be there. He'd be sitting waiting for us.
Wow.
And he was asking questions. You know, if you watch the earlier Nigerian movies, for instance, technically they were bankrupt.
Yeah.
Technically they were bankrupt. I mean, sound, you hear the generator.
And the editing, the effects on it and all
shots,
that.
Blah, 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 crossing the line and all that. But they pushed.
Yes, and now they're doing better.
And then the government came in.
Okay.
You know, Nigeria was known as 419 for frauds. 419 is the act, 419. So everybody said every Nigerian was a fraudster. So when the film was coming up,
it was catching the waves.
Good luck, Jonathan said, let us use the film to change the narrative. You know, let's use the film to change the narrative. So he announced in a budget some $200 million for the film industry. But you know the interesting thing, when the government said they were going to put $200 million, $250 million in the film industry in Nigeria, government, they got more than $250 million from the private sector.
Because the government has taken a stake in it.
So people saw that, hey, then
it's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. So they pushed resources in. And today, their intonation has changed. I mean, Sean and all those. Because now they even import Nigerians who live outside to come and act. You know, to give them, because we used to laugh at them. We used to laugh at their accent and all that. Now and Nigerians, what they don't like at all is for anybody to say something Ghanaian is better than Nigerian. You know, so they pushed in, they trained, brought some students to NAFTI and all. They didn't have a film institute and all that. So people came to learn from here. Wow. And now, when I listen to BBC every dawn, Anytime they are talking about the difference in Africa is Nigerian film, Nigerian music, Nigerian drama, Nigerian this. So aren't we doing anything at all?
And so that's where I was driving at. I mean, you've basically said it all. You have been around, you've seen things get done. You saw when Nigerians were basically learning and trying to shape their movie
industry.
An
interesting thing, Nigerian gates to their homes. You know that if you watch the Nigerian films, you know where they came from. The flaps, when they open the gate, one goes in and one comes out.
Yeah.
Now the sort of in Ghana, both go in.
Yeah.
So Nigeria now they have
moving their thing. So the thing is, we can have the sea of knowledge, but not have anybody fish from it if they don't want to.
Yes.
You mentioned something very, very important, and I read extensively about, the announcement, the stimulus, good like Jonathan promised. Apparently, it wasn't even done.
No.
But then the mere fact that the announcement alone was able to attract, so much that he made more than that in
investment. It was a communication strategy.
Exactly, and it worked.
Sometimes you go to church and you're coming to do fundraising.
Yeah.
Then somebody comes to say that
last time
Mama
when you did
10,000.
Yeah.
Well, nothing.
But
once somebody says that Mama 10,000, then people get up.
Yeah, me too. I go give 10,000.
I go give 20,000.
But it worked for them.
It worked, yes.
Why do you think it hasn't worked? I mean, we've said so many technical things.
Yes.
Every year, every 4 years, we do change over when it comes to government. In the past, we've had heavy representation, even to the point where some creatives themselves have gone into the space when it comes to decision making. We've spoken about the part where even the players on the ground themselves are not really equipping themselves with the right skills. But then on the policy side, do you think we've done anything wrong? Do you think there are things we could have done in the past to help shape what you guys were doing? Because you guys were getting it right.
Yes.
I won't lie to you. When I sit today to go and watch, I don't know if it's called Temptations or... oh my God. I forgot the movie, but I had Mame Dokuno in there. I think Mame Dokuno went to jail.
Yes.
I remember the theme song. Why don't you leave your hands and pray? Pray to your God. If anybody remembers the movie, they should help us. But when you watch them today, they still look good. They carry a story. They carry a theme. At the end of the day, it sums up as something. The guys that followed after the Lydia Forsons and the rest, Yvonne Nelsons, they also carried it to a certain point. The Kumau people also entered in, as you said, with their own style, no book long style, and they ran it. At some point, we were still running the numbers. Movie business was booming. People were selling CDs and cassettes and the rest. Where did we lose it? How did we lose it?
We lost it because we didn't have strategies.
Okay.
Everything we were doing was by chance. We didn't have a national policy for the industry, and so when hardships came, the changeover came. Like we were selling. Initially, we were going to film theaters.
Yeah,
it was film theaters, and even when we started doing the video, we showed them in film theaters.
Still,
yes, and then we started selling CDs. They were all smooth transitions. But once that thing went off and we went into streaming,
the digital space,
digital space, then because we didn't have any plan, we got locked up. We fell into the ditch, and we've discussed it
so many times.
Yes, but still, it's the film industry is what do you call it in business? Capital intensive.
Yeah, very.
It's capital intensive. If you want to make a good film, you're looking at millions of dollars. Now you can talk about millions of CDs because
the dollar.
We are catching up. So you need millions of whatever currency. Of course, there are shoestring budgets. Films that you can also plan and make it well. But for a nation that seeks, to develop its creative space, we need lots of capital, which is not coming. And that is because, let me make a controversial statement.
Let's hear you.
The skills are not there.
Okay.
The skills are not there. Most of us are the creative side, the show thing there. When it comes to the business side, we don't have the skills. And so let me ask, why is it? And because probably we haven't made a point.
Yeah.
That look, for Black Stars, we bring in foreign coaches and pay them thousands of dollars a month.
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. I mean, the coach comes with his he comes with his supporting staff. We pay them. So why are we shying away from saying that, look, let us get a foreign expert in the creative industry to come help us mold our because you cannot. My film Nemesis was shown officially at the New York International Independent Film Festival. From there, naturally, I should have got, that could have been a break.
Yeah, it would have been a stepping stone,
Stepping stone, yes. But I didn't know my way around, so I came back.
That means you were not even business inclined. On that level.
Even still, my interest is in the show.
Bit, yeah.
Yes, and what we need is the technical people. You need the technical people to help you to push it, the marketing, the legal issues, and all that. But when I sit down to write a play. Yesterday I finished one play, Cats and Dogs. So we need that expertise. We need somebody who knows.
We need people to run the back end of it.
All
the business side, the legal side.
We only play around here, yes. But we need, and if government has to, if government has to put in money to look for an expert to come and help us shape.
I strongly even believe there may or might be people even here who have that wealth of knowledge, because then there are so many people who are excelling in business. But then maybe we need to focus on creating more creative business executives.
And that is exactly
so that they can run that side for us.
To start with. Because why is it that American starts shooting a film? By the time he's done with the film, he's already made about 50% of his.
Because someone is out there finding the brands already.
People are advertising already around the world. So immediately when they say premiere, it's in about 40 cities, at the same time. Yes, but it is not easy for a Ghanaian to send his film to America and come to do premiere here.
The ones who even do it, they do it individually. They do it independently, and it's mostly out of pocket.
Yes. So you need, for us to move up there, we need the expertise, the proper expertise. And I wouldn't mind if government was, as they bring foreign coaches, if they should bring some foreign experts to help us.
Will they come and meet a structure?
Help us to build a structure. Sounds like when the kind of Black Stars in disarray.
Don't you think it's too late?
No, it's not too late. It cannot be. They are young people. They are all of you guys. Young people there.
I'm saying this because
not for me until I drop dead.
We're still on. I'm saying, in terms of structures, we lost it for a while, like you rightfully said. And it looks like we've even lost the trust of the average Ghanaian person, because now when you move you can move to 5 Ghanaian people on the street and ask them about Ghana movies, and you hear the worst, okay? Don't you think we should, in our own way, without that external help, start looking at people who came to learn from us and went back and did theirs better, start building some structures? With institutions like NAFTI, ideas you had in the past, like extending it to the other side, have it so that we can grow the new crop of talents to hold it from where the ones that did it themselves. I don't want to stop mentioning the name, the Ajete and Ansoas, the Yvonne Nelsons, the Nadia Buaris, the Lydia Forsons, who didn't get that kind of training but were still able to hold the standard to a certain point.
You see, there was a smooth transition.
Yes.
They came to meet us. I've been in a couple of films with Ajete, Yvonne Nelson, Nadia, and all that. So they came to see
how you were doing it.
And I must say that these were very humble guys. Ajete, can ask Ajete to sit here 2 hours, you still be sitting there.
I know Lydia will also sit. They were all,
it's forceful with their thinking and all that. But they were humble to learn. I went on location once, and immediately I got there, I picked my script and went to sit somewhere to read through. And there were these young guys who came, and were going up and down, up and up. Up and up and up and up. At one point, one saw me, and then he came to me and said, "Oh, uncle." I said, "Yes, sir. But you visit here. You visit here. You visit here. That's why exactly his word. You visit here." I said, "Yes. Why? What should I do?" He said, "But you are too quiet." I said, "So why should I come and make noise here? We're coming to perform. We're coming to shoot the film. I'm learning my script. Now you better stop
moving about.
Up and down.
Sit down and then read your stuff.
Yeah. Sit down and learn." Then they stopped. You know. So some of them came to meet us as we were. So they learned. They got the opportunity from us. I don't know, because and in those days too, we were very busy.
Yeah.
Yes, every now and then we were going. So they also had opportunity to meet us over and over and over. Now it's far in between. And
I think I'll bring technology and social media in there as well, because
so somebody just buys a camera, sets up in his bedroom. He has seen somebody misbehaving on Facebook or YouTube, so he's also going to do some. So they didn't have that interaction. Maybe with the Lydia Forsons and Ajetes who are taking over from us. The younger ones did not have the opportunity to meet them. That's very true. From them, And so that is how it's been. But and in this industry too, there are no strict regulations.
And this from the policy side? Okay.
Not like law, where there's a legal counsel that if you're a lawyer and you misbehave, you drag you and sometimes even take your license and you can't practice. In the entertainment industry, who stops anybody? So unless you yourself decide that I want to be serious, I want to learn, and people call me all the time, "Oh, uncle, I want to meet you, blah, blah, I want to discuss this with you, blah, blah. Some want to learn. Some want to learn.
You still get the opportunity to teach these days?
Not as I used to, but one-on-one, sometimes a little group who talk to them and all that.
Okay. All right. We've said a lot about the policy bit, but let's come back to your life. When Uncle Sagoe wakes up, what time do you wake up in the morning? You said you listen to BBC, so I'm guessing before.
These days, BBC wakes me up at 3 o'clock. You see, that time, anytime I wake up, it's 3 o'clock. Because it's on BBC. Anytime I wake up, you're coming to read the 3 o'clock news.
This morning, I slept at 3 a.m. So after you listen to the news, is there any special meditation you do after that?
I get up and say a prayer or two.
Okay.
I'm at Calvary Methodist Church.
Okay.
We have Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning devotion. Yeah. So those 3 days I join.
Yeah.
Other days say my own prayer if I remember to. And then usually if I don't have any appointment, now I'll go to the laptop.
Okay. And write.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I keep on writing poetry, drama, whatever.
Are you back to your Auntie So days? Will you agree?
It's still there, but sometimes I go to church.
Okay.
I go to men's fellowship meeting.
Okay.
I'm part of the projects committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So
you
go. I'm going to the church for the projects committee meeting. So largely church activities.
Okay.
But when I feel very bored, I go to the National Theatre and interact with the artists there. Sometimes I direct them. Sometimes, last year I did a very big play with them, Woman's Instinct. Yes, and as I said, I just finished one play yesterday evening. So probably next week I'll go there and have them read through the first draft. If there are any corrections I'd have to make, and then we see whether we can plan to put it up.
Great.
Yes.
How involved is your own family in your daily activities? And a follow up: is any of your children taking after you? So what you do, Carrie? Hi, Carrie.
Carrie is the one who's the first one. Well, he's a soldier, so
he's into serious business.
Second one, a girl, Kay. Well, Carrie is the last one.
Okay.
She's a good writer.
Okay.
She read English at the university. But she's gone to the UK.
Okay. She's left us.
Got married and left. But I hope that when he settles down, she will take him. As for Carrie, she's in there.
Do you see a lot of yourself in Carrie?
When she was a kid,
okay,
she was very naughty. And you see her when she hears music strangely.
Yeah.
When she hears music, she will go and stand by a table
and
mimic
playing the piano.
Playing. She was 3 years, 2 years, thereabout. It's unfortunate I didn't get her to learn
music
to play, And at the point she wanted to do acting. I said no, go to school first. Finish your school first. So she has it. Yeah, she has it. And,
their generation is very conversant with technology internet, and all that.
Now the things she does with computer, you have no.
Do you sometimes find it challenging, the kind of opinions they have on things you do, maybe styles you employ that are from the past, things you still trust? Do you have challenges with that sometimes?
Not
really.
Not really. I mean, I am liberal.
Okay.
I'm very liberal. I only, if it's not too good, I'll point it out. No, stop. This one is not correct. And I picked that from my father. My father was very liberal with us. But I said I wanted to read law. And he was pushing me. Then one day I put up a play at International Central Gospel Church. I played Devil's Influence. And those days when the critics wrote about your work, yes, it was proper. So Elimination watched it. And the following weekend, Spectator, was the entertainment editor at Spectator, Weekly Spectator. Saturday morning, the back page, full page on me with my picture, huge picture there. Then my father, Saturday morning, was reading the newspaper, so he saw it.
Goes to the back page.
He went to the back page. Hey, then he read and he called me. He said, Spectator now. And I was no Spectator. Then he pushed it, thrust it at me. I said, okay. So in the penny is
and be the best.
And that was the last time he spoke about law.
Wow. Jay, but is it too late? Does it sometimes cross your mind to maybe go back to school?
It crossed. It used to once in a while cross because, as I said, I could still have gone on and done this. So I have some good friends who are artists, who are also into other professions, like Isankuma, the famous lawyer. He's a very good guitarist, and he plays with a musical group, Joyful Way Incorporated. If I Krabia, he's a lawyer, and he's an actor, also writes plays, So at a point, I said, okay, why not just go and do this law? Because I've read law books and they are not difficult for me to
you were a librarian at some point, so
they are not difficult at all for me to understand. So why not just? But anytime I made up, then something
crosses you.
Will come up.
Let's see next year.
We are going to Swaziland. Sometimes we are going here. So at a point, it left me. I must congratulate my good friend Gifty Afehidazi.
Honorable.
Who graduated from the law school last year. So what I see as
Motivation.
Sister Gifty. I push him back because he's fouled at me.
Yeah.
You know, he pushed him back here, Lord. You know, so well, but I'm approaching 70. I don't know how I can manage it now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you ever have plans of retiring from active writing, stage play, all that?
No. I say, as for actor, maybe your dead body can be used to. Your dead body can be used in a film. You know, the writing, I mean, it comes. Yes, if the stories come, you know, and once they come, I put them down. You know, so if they stop coming, then I'll stop. But once they keep on coming.
One more question, and then we can wrap up this morning. I think you said a lot. One thing I love, and I must say, there's no pun intended. I mean, to my other type of guests, but when you meet the creatives, they answer all the questions for you without you asking all the. Yeah, you just ask one question and then you get the answers for everything else. You're looking at us. You just need to pay attention and then listen. For a young man who didn't really have a social life, who became anti-so at some point, working through the ranks and becoming famous. I think that's the right word to use, because you had carved your spot in the creative scene in Ghana. From that time up until even now, people still know you. How did you manage the weight of fame in your state as an anti-so person? Because you had to make moves and get out of it. But then when the fame finally reached you, when people knew you everywhere, you couldn't go without a notice, you know, being unnoticed. How did you balance it? How did you decide to take it and then take it all in? Was it challenging?
I honestly did not make a fuss
about it.
About it. That we are celebrating, so what? It doesn't change anything. I still sometimes bought trotro. I don't care. We go in and people are looking at. Everybody's looking at you. For one challenging night was when I hosted a program on TV3.
Okay.
And then I used to live at La Paz those days, and I got to Circle. But I called for boots. While I was waiting, then it started raining. Suddenly. So a trotro came and said that means La Paz. So I jumped.
Just hopped in.
I hopped in. Then somebody at the back said, Uncle Abeiku, in Nabuya TV, no be.
Right now, I just see you on TV.
Abeiku said, go Nabuya TV, no be. I got out. I got out and stood in the rain to wait for the boat.
You don't like any stress.
You know, so, I mean, but I have not made a fuss out of it. I have not seen any change in my life because you're a public figure.
You still live your life.
You still live your life. Be as humble as you can. It hasn't changed me. Sometimes you, like this instance, sometimes there are challenges. People see you and they look at you. Unfortunately in Ghana, when people see you, they are not able to come up.
They won't come and say hi. They will just watch you.
It's just a few times that, especially the young people, they will come up and say, "Oh."
The rest will point fingers.
You know, and all that. So sometimes, but it's just because life fluctuates, and you must always be wary of it. I mean, you bluff, you're a celebrity, so you walk, people call you, you don't mind them, blah blah blah, and one day
we go.
You come down again. You know what you guys say? If you climb in a tree, if you're going up, you must watch those. Because
you might meet them when you're coming back, right?
You know.
Wow.
So yes, I mean, honestly, I have not. I've not seen it.
It's been a beautiful conversation with you this morning. We've actually gone beyond the time, 13 minutes, and it's because I'm enjoying the conversation. I really appreciate you spending time with us this morning. Before you go, I know I promised it was the last question, but if you're not around anymore, you know, if our maker calls at some point, or even if the maker doesn't call, you are in Swaziland somewhere chilling, what would you want Ghanaians to remember you for?
For my contributions to the development of the country. I'm not a doctor, I'm not an engineer, Even though, honestly, as I said, I am balanced. So even as I sit here, I have scientific ideas. I'm working on an app for tourism.
That's nice.
I'm working on another app for personal security.
That's beautiful.
I'm working on an equipment to make swimming pools safer for children. So I do here, I do there. But so my general
contribution to development.
I think that when I was young, very young, it used to occur to me that what can I do for my name to stay when I'm dead and gone. I mean, I think that 4 or 5 years, I started thinking about leaving a name. Sometimes by providence. Some of the things I said, I was a player. Somebody watches and says, "Let me take you to the U.S. Let me do this for you." Some of them by providence. Some of them I did not plan. That day when we were going to perform the play, I had not planned that I'll travel to the U.S. after that.
Like 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later. So some of the things I had not planned that I was going to Johns Hopkins. I had not planned that I was going here. So some of them by providence, and therefore I would always say that thank God. And so I now devote much of my time to God's work.
I love that.
I'm the chairman of the Methodist Church Arts Committee, and I've done a play on the history of the Methodist Church and how Methodism came to Ghana.
I'd love to see that.
Yes, and so we're doing our best. If anytime God decides that, hey, you've been there well enough,
you go and continue there. Go and organize the angels.
We need you here.
Yes, go and organize the angels and put together an arts committee in heaven. And they'll be acting stories by us. Yes. Over there telling the stories.
One monk died.
Yeah.
At his funeral, I said, you should go and put life into heaven.
Thank you so much, Abeiku. So we're speaking to Abeiku Sagoe, legendary Abeiku Sagoe. It's been a wonderful conversation. If you want to just watch back on it, it's on YouTube. It's going to be on Facebook as well. And then, of course, our Instagram, Y1079FM. He spent so much time with us this morning. We appreciate. Yes, please.
That traditional African traditional music is not given any attention at all. So I'm creating a festival of African traditional music in Ghana.
We'll be here to support.
Kofodia in December.
We'll be here to support.
Yes, so certainly I'll come back.
Yes, just let us know. And I'm pledging our undying support.
Right.
If it's music, YFM is Ghana's biggest music station. We love any kind of music. We make the hits, and so I pledge this on air. It's on record.
Right.
Once you're ready and it's all set, we'll definitely throw our support in there and make sure we create some more awareness about it.
Right.
Okay? We'll do that for you, yes. We'll do that for the legend. 17 past 12, Y107.9 FM.